video presented by Umberto, and he's gonna talk about the client side of CMDBuild 3.0. So let's go.
Hi, my name is Umberto Calligaro, front-end engineer at TECNOTECA. I was involved in the development project of the new CMDBuild interface since the beginning. In this short introduction, I will explain to you what were the choices that we made regarding the new CMDBuild user interface and what was our operating method. In the first stage of our project, we mainly focused on the framework choice that we were going to use to develop the new UI. After an initial analysis, we narrowed down in two options, XJS and AngularJS. In the end, we went with XJS because it has a great amount of built-in components and good documentation and pretty rigid structure, which in our opinion can be an assurance in a project as big as this one. Another point in favor of this framework is the knowledge that our team had of this framework that was already used for many years for the development of this project. The choice was made acknowledging that the framework also has its flaws, which we considered being manageable considering its pros. Being CMDBuild an open source software, the version of XJS chosen by us was the 6.2. Since it's the last one released with the GPL license. From version 5, XJS supports the model view controller and model view model architectural patterns. For our application, we decided to use the second one. The key difference between model view controller and model view model is that model view model features an abstraction of view, which manage the chains between a model's data and views representation of the data, something which typically is cumbersome to manage the traditional model view controller applications. The model view model pattern attempts to leverage the architectural benefits of model view controller. For example, the separation of functional responsibilities, yet also provides the additional advantage of data binding. The result is that the model and the framework perform as much work as possible, minimizing and in some cases eliminating application logic that directly manipulates the view. Elements of the model view model pattern include the model which describe a common format for data being used in the application, just as in the classic model view controller pattern. The view represents the data to the user, just as in the classic model view controller pattern. The view model is an abstraction of the view that mediates change between the view and associated model. In the model view controller pattern, this would have been the responsibility of a specialized controller. But in model view model, the view model directly manages the data bindings and formulas used by the view in question. Getting back to the project, after choosing the framework to use, we started an initial phase of analysis of the new interface, aiming to use a modern layout, giving special attention to the usability. We started by drawing on paper the wireframes of the main pages of the application on which the first analysis was made on. We then create a first prototype on the essential field to make sure that our new graphical needs were met on this new version of Next.js. Next, we create the first prototype with dynamic data taken directly from CMDBuild, which this prototype was published in September 2017, and which were implemented all the essential needs that came out during the analysis made up until that point. After gathering the feedbacks from the first prototype, we started prototyping all the necessary functionalities and various interactions with the prototyping software. To conclude this step, we also made a study on the color to use in our interface. As we were able to see in the presentation video, the new colors are blue, used for the navigation, components and context information, and orange to indicate possible actions and details in the management section. That is because blue and orange are the official color of CMDBuild logo. As for administration module, we use gray for the navigation components and context information, and instead for possible actions and details we use green water. In this slide you will find an historical of the various prototypes, from the first drawing made on paper to the last interactive one. Well, concluded the prototyping phase, the real development of the new instance started. We started by implementing the management of authentication, the crucial point for the correct functioning of CMDBuild. We then built the grounds of the application by implementing the routing for the access to the resources, and activated the mechanism to the generation of the navigation menu. We then moved to the class management, starting from the cards list, to then move to the CRUD mechanism. We then added the relation, details, notes, and attachments. After that, we started developing the processes, implementing first the new functionalities of personalized actions, of the featured message, and of the feature of the advancement of the process. We also implemented the first widgets. We also added the report management and integration with the new custom pages. These pages are coded in Next.js, which can use core functionalities to create pages inside the application, completely personalized, which integrate themselves elegant inside CMDBuild, because are using the same logics and graphical elements. In the meantime, we integrate the GIS section with the functionalities already present in the version 2.5 of CMDBuild, integrating them with the new interface and improving their usability. The same thing we did for the BIM module, integrate the 3D viewing inside the new interface. Since the beginning, we also started the development of the interface of administration module, giving the possibility to manage classes and attributes, processes, domains, and lookups, menus, user, and configuration. In administration module, we also give special attention to simplicity and usability. Each of these phases were preceded by an analysis activity on the web service requests necessary for the development. As you can see in the image, the architecture of the new CMDBuild UI has at its core the Next.js framework and some external libraries, more precisely for the GIS and BIM modules. On top of this core, we built a layer of utilities necessary for example, for the generation of the dynamic models of the classes and processes, for the generation of forms with specific validators and behaviors of our application. On top of this layer, we can find all the static modules used across the entire application, which shape the data given by CMDBuild. We can find the stores, which are the components that read the information from the server through requests at the CMDBuild web service, and map the data into static or dynamic model of our application. Then there are some custom components created for the application's need, like the inline form inside the grid or the status bar of the process. On top of everything, we can find the views with their own controllers and view models. The views are the set of configuration of components that make up the entire graphic interface, from the header to the footer, from the navigation to the grid to the single detail of the elements. Finally, there is a possibility to add custom pages and custom widgets, which can be written independently by users of CMDBuild, and that are useful to integrate specific functionalities for a bigger customization and adaptability of CMDBuild to needs of a single company. And then an innovation introduced in the development of CMDBuild 3 is the integration test on the user interface, which have the purpose to verify not just the correct behavior of every single component, but also its relationship with other components in the application. We decide to use Selenium HQ, and the tests are coded in Java and have different degrees of articulation. They go from the simple login, try to authenticate with a valid and invalid credential, to test error messages, to more complex tests in which changes are executed through the CMDBuild interface, and the validity of the test is determined by checking the data written on the database. These tests are a part of continuous integration and are executed automatically at each commit on the main branch of the project. At the moment, the written tests are about 80 or so, and our goal is to cover the most part of the functionalities of CMDBuild implemented. Thank you very much for your attention. We hope that the choices we made for the new interface are going to be received positively, and after an initial adjustment period, they will speed up, simplify your operation on CMDBuild. We are aware that there might be improvements to make, so we hope to receive some feedback from you to be able to get even better. Have a good time going on during this CMDBuild day. Bye.